Hello and welcome. Just waiting for some people to come into the chat. I will deal with the first one I see, which is this. I'm a bit worried about Blade Runner 2099 because I'm really looking forward to it, and these new pictures weren't very encouraging. Hi there, yes, we'll get to that. In fact, seeing as though you mentioned the pictures, we may as well put it on to the picture itself, or one of them. Um, yeah, I mean, it does look very it's definitely reminiscent of the Blade Runner we know, but perhaps with less budget and less cinematic in a way. I thought what we could do was look at the trailer ourselves, or look at the trailer together if you haven't seen it already, and perhaps we can like look through it and judge it that way, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I think people are saying hello and everything like that. Hello, everyone. Just waiting for a few more people to come into the chat. It may be, I don't know, not the best time to stream. I'm trying to stream a bit more regularly, and just waiting for more people to come into the chat. The problem was the stream, it may experience some issues. Um, Hello. Uh, as I said on Twitter, I'm cautiously optimistic, hoping for the best. Yes, me too. I am hoping for the best. Um, I originally thought it was going to be directed by Ridley Scott, at least some of the episodes. However, I think the main director is going to be the man who directed was it, what was it, Ronin, or it was a series for FX, Shogun. The director who made the Shogun series, directed the Shogun series, he's directing, I think, all of the episodes for Blade Runner 2099. And I really enjoyed Shogun. So I'm hoping there is that is something positive. I was really hoping that Ridley Scott was going to return to Blade Runner because I feel it really is, it's his, it's his baby in a way, and he gave it away, kind of thing, to focus on other IPs such as Alien at the time. When he did the other Alien movies. So I feel like Blade Runner kind of got abandoned, um, and perhaps, who knows, maybe there would have been some success in theaters had he directed the sequel. I don't know. Who knows? It's all guesswork at this point. But yes, it's going to be a TV series, so at least it's going to have more time to breathe. Okay, let's say they're going to be an hour episode each. I think there's going to be 8 episodes. That's 8 hours of new Blade Runner. That's really significant. So I'm really, really hoping they give the characters time to breathe. They give the world the time to breathe. But apparently, the world is very different from what we used to know from Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. So I'm going to go through it briefly and see what we can discover. I am also cautiously optimistic about Blade Runner 2099. Yes, so am I. I mean, I think everybody is actually. um, it's it's a mixed bag, really. Anything new is scary, to be honest. Obviously, all we can look at are the people behind it, the writers, the directors, the showrunners, and the stars. And so far, I honestly don't mind the stars. I mean, I don't mind Michelle Yeoh and Hunter Schiffer. I think that's how you pronounce the name. Um, I've enjoyed their previous work. Not all of it, obviously, because some things didn't go so well, which I will cover in a minute. Um, but yes. So let's see if I can get some more. I don't know. Uh, any more comments or questions before we get started? Um, okay, I'll just continue. Oh, there are some. I see. I'm receiving other comments. Um, Let me see if I can click on some of them from here. I'm just trying to like find new methods and new techniques in terms of streaming, just to do some more interesting streams for you guys. Um, by the way, isn't the Neuromancer series also premiering later this year? I don't know. I don't even know. You'll have to tell me more about that. Honestly, I don't trust Ridley Scott to direct anything these days. Napoleon Gladiator 2. I haven't seen Gladiator 2, I have to admit. I did see Napoleon, and I hear there's a director's cut which is far superior that he wanted to release but never did or couldn't or something. I'm not too sure. Or I think he did release it, but I never saw it. I found some of the sequences were very reminiscent of his old work. I really loved the sequence in the snow. I thought that was a fantastic sequence. Story wise, however, it's not. Yeah, it wasn't his strongest movie. Um, but I still think he's a brilliant director. I know it's totally off topic right now, but I missed previous streams before you start. Can I ask about your opinion about leaving Leo Seydoux, aka Lady Framing, from the third Dune movie? No, you're more than welcome to ask. I hear there are rumors that she is in it, so I'm not too sure what's going on. I did hear that Leia Seydoux was cast and was supposed to be in Dune Part 3. Whether or not she appears, I don't know. It's one of those things where we just have to wait and see whether or not she'll actually make an appearance. Do I think she'll have more of a prominent role? You would hope, but she's not made a single appearance in two trailers. We're two trailers in and we haven't seen her. So my guess is we have one more trailer. She may make an appearance in that one. I think they normally release 3 trailers. If they don't by then I don't know what's going on. But hey, I mean, Denis Villeneuve has done this before where, he's promised someone a bigger role and we were meant to see another the character in Dune Parts 2, for example, and it didn't happen. And this happened obviously with the Mentat Thufir Hawat. So we'll have to see if she'll actually make an appearance in Dune Part 3. I don't know so far. Following Denis Villeneuve, it wasn't an easy task. Look at Dune Prophecy, even though I liked it, the drop off in quality is quite clear. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Quality can reduce significantly in TV shows. And I feel sometimes it can actually match and be on par with cinema at times. And it all depends on the kind of director you have and the type of budget. Now, I hear there are special effects in this show. I hear that there are going to be action sequences as well. So let's hope that they've given enough money into this. And as well, Ridley Scott is producing. Why do I mention this? Because Ridley Scott has produced things in the past that are of high quality. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't think he'd attach his name to it if it wasn't high quality. That's my personal opinion. No Villeneuve, no interest, to be honest. I hear you. I definitely do. Well, Ridley is producing, so let's just kind of say for the moment, he is some kind of quality control on the series for Blade Runner. So for Blade Runner 2099. So let's just see if he actually brings that quality and that level, that kind of cinematic level of quality as a producer to the series. And you know, you never know. I mean, everyone's going to obviously want to know Ridley Scott's opinion, and also Denis Villeneuve, because he did 2049. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. It looks like Altered Carbon. Someone says it looks like an Altered Carbon copy of Blade Runner. I liked this series, Altered Carbon, actually. Well, I mean, obviously it had its issues, but I enjoyed it because at least it tried to be relatively, original in its ideas, in that, people can survive by transferring themselves years into the future. And I kind of liked the idea. The character was a white guy in the beginning, and then it transferred to a black guy, and I thought that was really cool. Like, it was kind of like this whole the shedding of race and gender and things like that. I thought that was quite interesting, and I think, I actually think it had at least another season that it could have done to push things in the sci-fi realm, but I think they cancelled it. I think was it after 2 or 3 seasons, something like that. I don't remember. But yeah, again, everything is short-lived when the money doesn't come in, and things are not given its time to breathe, which is so sad in this age of consumerism where you're constantly trying to, you know, get the next hype, the next craze, the next big thing. And if it doesn't work after the first episode, they pull the plug. And it's like, you need to give things time to breathe. It's crazy. But yeah, it does look kind of like it does remind you of Altered Carbon, at least the type of quality. Yeah. Let me just see some more comments. I just watched this teaser. I'm worried. Worries have eased a bit, yes, but I still feel that the effects look quite average, even for a TV series. Yeah, it looks kind of like, very. Some of it is kind of budget. We're going to look at it in a second, but you're right. Bright Daylight in 2099. Yeah. I hear that's actually a main theme of this series. They wanted it to be like very bright and sunny, like a birth. I read in an article, like the dawn of a new era. You get the interesting thing about that is you get to look at certain shots, which I think we could look at now. So let's look at the trailer. I don't want really to have any audio, so I'm gonna mute it. Don't know if it's muted now, but yeah. So it does look kind of very. I don't know. It reminds me of effects from like the 1990s, like these obscure sci-fi films I used to watch back in the day. In a way, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. This looks like anime, and it kind of reminds me of the anime that they released with 2049, which I loved, and I'm going to look more into that. But see, you got these shots like this. I think this is a great shot, it's lit beautifully. It's kind of lit how Ridley Scott would light it. And that's what I like about some of these shots that I'm seeing. And I guess, again, this is Ridley Scott quality coming into play. This is Ridley Scott as a producer saying that, the lighting has to be on point. If it's not, he wouldn't want his name attached to it, probably, so this does remind you of the original Blade Runner. where Ridley Scott would have this amazing lighting, this noir style lighting, and he's executive producer, as it says in the trailer as well. Um, some of the effects, I hear you, that they're not. I mean, it's probably early days, or perhaps this is final render. Who knows? But the world that they're living in is not the world we know from 2049 and the original Blade Runner. This is 2099 after apparently humanity has lost and replicants kind of rule. But what I do hope about this is that they actually show the um the exploration of humanity, what it means to be human, and what it means to. I think that's Hunter Schiffer there actually. I haven't noticed until now. So she does get to do some action, scenes and stuff. I want it to be grungy. I don't want it to look clean. This is my main worry. I want it to look like the original Blade Runner. I know we have 4K now, and I love having films, appear in 4K and IMAX HD and all of that good stuff. But I do want it to look grungy. And what I'm seeing is there is a certain level of dirt and grunge to this world, and I'm actually excited about that. I mean, this was hard hitting. I don't want to show too much because I don't know about, what will happen with um I don't know, monetization and all that, and YouTube rules and stuff. But look how like grungy and gory that is. I mean, I'm happy to see this. I know it's kind of sounds demented, but yeah, it's nice to see that, it's not clean. It looks kind of lived in and dirty, and I hope it's going to be hard hitting and violent in a way, like the original Blade Runners were. Um, Denis Villeneuve cuts out some characters and gives a bigger role to others or omits them altogether. Oh yes, this is regarding Dune Part 2 and 3. Yeah, absolutely. Who knows what's going to happen with that? I'm not too sure if we're ever going to see Lady Margot Feinring again. I mean, um, Count Feinring himself was cut out in place of Lady Margot. So who knows? Wait, I didn't know the teaser trailer was released. Just now, just watched it, and it looks kind of washed out and cheap. It doesn't have the vibe. We'll see. I will look into it and we'll have a look. But I mean, I think there are some elements where it does have some semblance of Blade Runner, and if it does go in different directions in a good way, so be it. I just get scared of any more TV shows from Prime. Example like Rings of Power. I loved it at first and kept derailing from the actual material messages. Blade Runner, I'm not sure. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I was really hopeful of Rings of Power. It kind of went downhill, and the thing is, the special effects are fantastic. I mean, I can't really fault the show for that. I mean, the visuals, the special effects, they put so much. You can tell they've put so much money into it, um, and it's on level with the movies themselves. It's almost as good as like the way Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit kind of looked in terms of special effects. But yeah, the storytelling, it got weaker and weaker as it went along, and I enjoyed some elements of it, but yeah, it's that's the problem with TV. You have multiple writers, you have multiple hands messing and interfering with the IP to the point where it becomes something so vague that you don't really recognize it. You recognize what it's trying to be, but you don't recognize what it was to you. And that's what I really am worried about, especially with Blade Runner. Yes, Neuromancer is coming this year on Apple TV. I'm so hyped for that show. I've gone blank, but I actually don't know what this Neuromancer thing is. Um, Let me know what this Neuromancer thing is because I'm not too sure. People keep mentioning Neuromancer, but some people are hyped. That's cool. A bit surprised Neuromancer doesn't have a panel at SDCC. I'm surprised Dune doesn't have a panel at SCC, the SDCC. Where's the Dune panel, guys? Are they above Comic Con to be, to appear at SDCC? I mean, okay, we got a trailer just fairly recently, but they could have saved it for SDCC. They could have maybe saved another reveal for SDCC for Dune. How about Dune Prophecy? Why isn't that at SDCC? Um, I don't know. I don't have the answer to those questions, I'm afraid. I forgot to reply to you. It's going to be a series by Apple TV, and it's from the showrunner of Jack Ryan and Dark Winds. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to look more into that. 2429 was pretty bright at times too. This is true, I agree. Thanks for the answer. She wasn't even among big names in the credits. It will be interesting if her child with Fade will be part of the plan against Paul's regime as Harkonnen's successor. Thanks for mentioning that. That's why I made a video actually about that thread from Dune Part 2, because she had the child and she said that the bloodline is secure, and she was touching her belly and she was referring to the girl inside her, and we know it's a girl because they want a girl, because they want to raise her as a Bene Gesserit. And so I was wondering if this girl was going to be raised to be a possible assassin towards Paul, or perhaps replace a character like Lichna, who was supposed to be kind of embroiled in this whole thing. I don't want to give too much away, but Lichna was supposed to be a Fremen daughter who was then swapped, and then that person was, I think, sent to Paul, and he immediately knew that she was not who she seemed to be. AKA Cytale. But anyway, so yeah, so I thought that this, Fade's child and Lady Margot Fenring's child would be perhaps a character that would appear in Dune Part 3. It still may be the case, I don't know. But I did make a video on that if anyone wants to check it out. It's called, well, the thumbnail says, "Will she be in Dune Part 3, I think. Apple doesn't promote anything, honestly. So baffling. Yeah, they don't really, their promotion isn't really, I don't know, they're quite weak when it comes to promoting their TV shows. I feel like I do a lot of the promoting of some of their good shows, like on X and stuff like that. Hey, Good Joe, nice to hear from you. Thank you. And thanks for sending the chilies again, because for some reason it just doesn't like to appear. But I will put this comment here and I will type it just to say thank you, and I will feature it. Thank you for sending the 6 jewels. I really appreciate it, Good Joe. Thank you so much. So yeah, so I don't like the cheap light. That's the biggest problem with this teaser. Yeah, I really want to see it in HD. Like, a lot of these clips have been in like 1080 max, and I just want to see it in 4K and see just as like deep dive into the quality of this. But anyway, let's keep moving on to the trailer. So she gets knocked out here, and we get to see Michelle Yeoh kind of like interrogating her as well. I'll come to the comments in a minute. Let me just go back to the second. So, welcome to the future. Yeah, what I like as well about this is it seems like they're going to have scenes off-world. And being off-world was kind of one of the most intriguing and interesting parts of Blade Runner, which was briefly shown in the anime as well, where you had this guy on, I think he was on Mars, he was a Martian soldier. And this kind of looks off-world too, where I don't know, they're flying off from somewhere, or perhaps this may even be an aftermath of a nuclear war. I don't know. It's hard to kind of say what this stuff all really is, but it looks like it's burning whatever it is, so it could be. Um, but yeah, so it seems like there's going to be some off-world stuff because I saw like a planet as well. Like she looks here like, um, if I can get the shot, which I'm looking for, she looks like she's in space here. This is Michelle Yeoh, and she looks like she's in some kind of, uh, you know, um, some kind of spacecraft or something. Um, and I think I do see these interesting elements where here. So this looks like she might be even in this vehicle. I'm not too sure, but she might be in this spacecraft going towards where I don't know. But at least it's something is happening in space, and perhaps we might get to see more of that in the show. And also perhaps some of the past scenes, like what happened between 2049 and 2099. That would be very interesting to me. Let's get some more questions in. Lore-wise, really interesting how they'll build the world of 2099 because there's a replicant human war. I read in Entertainment Weekly. Yes, the showrunner got inspiration from Dick's Electric Sheep. Yes, they're going to incorporate actually some of the elements from the book, which again is a welcome thing. You know, it's a good thing, to be honest, because one of the kind of criticisms was that they didn't actually get to do a lot of the material, you know, from the books into, that appeared in any of that animated series and that appeared in 2049. So like they really, people are like kind of happy to hear, especially as well me, that they're going to like take some of the dark elements from Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. So let's hope for the best, I guess. Hopefully this doesn't get struck for hyping this up. Yeah, exactly, right? I completely hear you. Who knows? Maybe Amazon Prime will start to have a thing against me. So who knows? Yeah. We finally get to see space travel to off-world in Blade Runner. Exactly. That's what I'm kind of really happy about. And I do hope it's not just like one or two shots. I hope it's actually, we get to experience life off-world. And I think maybe perhaps that's where she comes from. She's this character played by Michelle Yeoh. I think maybe she comes from off-world or something. I'm not sure. Just a quick back to Lady Fenring. I feel a bit sorry for Lady Fenring, but not because I like this character, but I love Lea Seydoux. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, fantastic actress, of course, and if she doesn't get to appear in the film, I will feel sorry for her as well, because I think she was promised more of a beefy role in Dune Part 2. And due to cuts and all sorts, I think it was reduced. She got to, keep some cool scenes, but it would be nice to have returning characters. Why do we have to constantly cut out people that we've seen before just for the sake of looking new? For the sake of the film looking new? I don't know. But yeah, let's hope for the best. I don't think the budget is something that guarantees the success of Blade Runner 2099. In my opinion, the script is the most relevant thing. I completely agree. But at least, at the bare minimum, you could say that, oh, this looks perfect. If the budget was high and they really put effort into making things look amazing. But of course, I'm completely willing to sacrifice quality of look for fantastic writing. 100%, 100%. Um, because at the end of the day, if I don't feel these characters are real, if I don't feel that they are really progressing and growing, then you kind of lose interest. And if the storyline is weak, yeah, then you're right. It's not gonna it's going to fail, and it definitely won't be renewed. That's the problem, isn't it? Like if there is no success, there won't be a season two. And what does that mean? That will mean they'll give up on the IP forever. Blade Runner, yeah, forget it. Let me do something else. They'll just focus on remaking some other nonsense, you know. Who knows? Where is the Dune panel? Exactly, right? Like, where is the panel? At least for the Dune Prophecy series, season 2, which has already wrapped months and months ago. You know, can't we get a little teaser at least? Some imagery, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like they don't really know how to build upon hype. I do feel the whole Dune campaign has been kind of off in terms of when they release things and where they could potentially release things. You know, like they've never really done anything at a Comic Con, um, to, you know, where you get significant, you know, showing of, I don't know, things, or perhaps even a future announcement of Dune. Nothing. So it's kind of weird, to be honest. OG cyberpunk novels. Yeah, I will definitely look into it. I do remember them being novels, but I just don't remember. I didn't know they were going to actually make a show. I heard it vaguely, I believe. Someone else commented once about it, but yeah, I need to read more into it, I think. Actually, Apple TV has a 2-hour panel this year, though. Ah, okay. So maybe they're improving things then with their um, advertising and stuff. Um, right. So would all humans be off-world, or has the war spread there? Good question. Very good question. I just want to know what the world is like currently with the replicants in control. And what does that so I really hope they kind of explore and actually intelligently explore what it means to be human, what it means to have faith, perhaps even. That might be interesting. Something like that. Um Villeneuve isn't doing any of the Blade Runners. No, and I don't think he's directing either. He's obviously too busy. He didn't even want to direct the Dune Prophecy episodes anymore because he wanted to focus on Dune Messiah, I think it was at the time. Um, so okay, let's continue with the trailer, just finishing it off. Um, so at least we get to see some Othworld action. Then you get to see some really weird kind of like thing being extracted from this guy. You see a huge explosion. Uh, you see Hunter Schiffer running, and then this shot was very Blade Runner 2049 and original, um, which I enjoyed. I don't know who this character is, but it does seem interesting. It does look like the original in some way. And here we have Michelle Yeoh, and she's basically saying that it's like their time now. And she's a replicant. So some people thought actually that Hunter Schiffer's character was going to be a replicant, but she's actually playing a human. And it's Michelle Yeoh who's playing the character of a replicant. And the thing is, she was inspired by Roy Batty's the Roy Batty character, Rutger Hauer, played by the late Rutger Hauer. And and she said like that she was telling the story of a replicant, from the replicant's perspective, which I think some people actually criticized the original Blade Runner for, which is that it was perhaps more compelling if the movie was told from Roy Batty's perspective. And I never really thought of that until I heard that. Because, I mean, to me, the movie is a masterpiece. I love it. I even like Deckard's character. And my preferred or favorite version is the one where he's not narrating. I know a certain director will be disappointed with me for saying that. Um, um, if you know, you know. But I like the one without the narration. I just like making up what's going on in my own head. I don't need the narration for me. Um, but yeah, so Michelle Yeoh's character is the one who I'm kind of most excited to see what she does with it and how she plays it. And I think, I enjoy Michelle Yeoh's work. I didn't enjoy the Star Trek movie that she made. Obviously, the movie wasn't well written at all. However, I did like a guilty pleasure. I did like seeing her in the TV show. I did. And I only watched it because she was in it. I'm going to be honest. I just liked kind of her character was, she was kind of like a villain and then she wasn't. So it was interesting. But it wasn't, the movie wasn't her best work, let's be honest. But I mean, I've loved her for years. I've loved her since her like martial arts fighting days, and I love her in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Um, so yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with her. Will she do any martial arts in this? I wonder. I don't know, but we'll see. Let me get to some of the comments now. I hope it's better than Alien Earth. They're still making a season two. I mean, a season two was greenlit for that. So, Alien Earth. Okay, there were some things I enjoyed about Alien Earth. There were some things I think they got right. But yeah, again, it's like I think they got the first episode seemed like it was, it went off to a success. Like it looked really good. It looked high quality, high budget. It kind of got weaker as it progressed. I liked that there were different aliens. I feel like they were trying to bridge out into different creatures and stuff like that. It was kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, I'm still going to watch the second season just because out of sheer curiosity. But I do hope it is better than Alien Earth. But Alien Earth, was it an FX show? I don't think it was a Prime show. But yeah, I mean, at least they renew their seasons, I mean, let's hope this one gets a second season. How can they not know how to build on hype? Exactly. I mean, I feel like the trailer's just been released. Brilliant. Okay, great. We've had that to talk about. But then like they could have used, the SDCC as kind of like um a stepping stone to the other stuff like Dune Prophecy, or perhaps some new projects in the works that we may or may not know about. Maybe TV shows, other TV shows, other maybe comics, books, anything. But yeah, they just don't. It's like they don't want to be a part of that crowd, like or a part of that kind of hype. Perhaps it's a good thing, perhaps it's a bad thing. I don't know. I can't really say. Um, but it offers a different experience. It's more aloof is the only word I can use to describe it. It's kind of like they're aloof to the fandom. Okay, they gave us the um, the fan event, the global fan event. That was cool. That was cool. But why wasn't it like done at Comic Con, or why didn't it wasn't it announced, or why wasn't something else announced at Comic Con? I don't know. I just don't think they like to be a part of that crowd. Maybe they're very controlled. But actually, I do have something to tell you, which is that I have heard through the issues I've faced recently with my channel, that there is conflict in the studio between two different way of doing things. There's one side of Warner Brothers, I believe, that wants to push out everything. They want everything to be advertised. They want everything to be given the light of day in terms of the fans, whether they're when they're trying to hype it up. But there's another side that don't want it, and that want it very controlled and very I don't know, blocked. And I mean, look what happened to my video when it was taken down. Stuff like that is what I'm trying to say. So there are two different types of, there's a conflict in the studio itself, from what I'm hearing. And which is probably one of the reasons why my video was taken down. And then my Instagram was taken down, and my Facebook was blocked. My Secrets of Dune Facebook page. All of this in the same day. I have emailed Warner Brothers for a response, and I hope I hear from them to see what's really going on. Apparently, everything's been resolved, and I've given them all of my socials so that they leave me alone. They said they've put me on a list. This is Legendary. This isn't Warner Brothers. They've put me on a list to hopefully not be affected by any of this stuff, and we'll have to just wait and see if that really happens in the end. But I may change things up moving forward, simply because I don't want to get strikes and have my videos taken down when I've put a lot of work into them. I wonder if they're going to show the shore of Orion or something. Yeah, the shoulder of Orion you're referring to. Yes. Maybe that is the shoulder of Orion. I don't know. Like, maybe that image in the trailer is a shoulder of Orion. Who knows? But I do hear you. It would be nice to see, wouldn't it? Like, it would be cool. Maybe that is the shoulder of Orion. Who knows? But yeah, just, okay, nostalgia is a good thing and it would work, but let's hope they actually, create something original and something worthwhile. But yes, so the scene between Michelle and Hunter, is that an evolved void test, just like the one we saw in 2049? That's a good question, actually. Let's have a look. I believe whatever this is Michelle Yeoh doing something, and that is the test. That could be Hunter's eye, I'm not sure. But she's in a room here, and it doesn't look like there's anything close to her eye in this instance, but she may move something close to her eye. Perhaps she's being tortured here or something. I'm not sure. But look, I'm definitely going to be watching. Let's put it that way. I mean, look, out of sheer curiosity. And what's really funny about this is it's releasing a day before my birthday. So I'm really looking forward to that. I love when things get released around my birthday. It just feels like it's a personal present to me. So I will be covering it regardless. And let's hope for the best. Let's hope it's not something that's going to disappoint. And it's going to, I think it's going to be 8 episodes. So we'll see. Should they reveal how replicants are created? Who knows? Who knows? I think it would be interesting to see how they're programmed, and yeah, in a way, like perhaps who's really responsible for creating their brains or how they function. And I just hope it explores when they say they're going to like look into what it means to really be human. I really hope that they explore the essence of humanity. So uh how we treat each other, faith, um law, things like that. And I hope they do like a whole switcheroo thing, and do I hope that they're going to make someone appear to be a replicant when they're not? I don't know. I don't think so. I think we've done that, and now let's just explore what it's like to live in a world run by replicants. And to be honest with you, that wasn't the premise I was expecting at all. So it could be a good thing. It could be a good thing because it's totally different. Raised by Wolves was by Scott, and it was what? It was so so. Raised by Wolves, yeah, Raised by Wolves. It had a good run. I wish it continued, and apparently it was. There was an explanation very recently about why it was pulled, and that they still want to bring it back. They still want. I mean, the filmmakers responsible. They still hold hope in bringing Raised by Wolves back, so we may actually get to see it again in the future. Who knows? I would be very happy if they at least wrapped up the series, because they left it on a cliffhanger, a very interesting one as well. So let's see what they do with it. But yeah, I actually enjoyed Raised by Wolves. If Michelle Yeoh is in it, it's either going to be good or absolutely mediocre. Yeah, because of because we saw about the Star Trek stuff. Yeah, exactly. I think this is going to be one of her roles where where she shows off her acting chops. I don't think it's going to be, you know, just martial arts kind of showing off her skill in that regard. I think it's going to show off her acting skill, hopefully. And actually, she's one of the most interesting characters to me currently in this whole thing. So I do hope they get to they give her the most kind of the meatiest role, let's say. The creator side wants to keep everything under wraps, probably. Yeah, of course. This is you're talking about Dune, I guess. I completely agree. Um, but again, at the end of the day, it's like this. We know these books. Like, at least create something, create moments in the fandom that we're going to be hyped about. And remember for years to come, like other fandoms got to experience. One day I'll talk more about that, I guess. Yeah, Alien Earth was not bad, but they had some basic mistakes in the first episodes. But in the end, 7 out of 10. Yeah, Alien Romulus, 10 out of 10. Fair enough. Yes, I did. I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed Romulus. I kind of wish they were going to do more with that. Weren't they supposed to do like a sort of sequel to Alien Romulus or something, and it didn't work out, or we're waiting for it? I don't know, but yeah, no, I enjoyed Alien Romulus. Alien Earth, it could have, it could have, it could have been better, but it wasn't absolutely unwatchable. I actually watched it, and it was okay. Uh, Wait, your Facebook page is down? It was down. It was. I was completely blocked from posting for that whole day. I think it was the 21st of July. But everything has been resolved because to give Legendary their credit, they did step in and they helped out, even though they seemed to still be partially responsible for taking down my Facebook page. Um, but I think the majority of it seems to have been Warner Brothers, and I'm still waiting for a response from them about what happened and why. I still want answers. And am I expecting to get a satisfactory one? No. but I gave them the opportunity. I reached out to them, giving them the opportunity, you know, extending my hand, the olive branch, as it were, of peace. Um, and I hope I hear back from them. And if I hear anything positive, I will let you guys know. But so far, this is the second vicious attack that um, I've experienced from them, and seemingly from them, allegedly, let's just say. And I hope it doesn't happen again, basically. But the Facebook page is back. Unshift will be a great replicant. She has such an otherworldly look about it. Well, that's the thing. I actually thought she was going to be a replicant. So to make her only human, unless they're doing this whole switcheroo thing where, oh no, she actually is a real replicant and not a human. I don't know, but she gave that kind of replicant vibe. Um, that would have been really cool, I think, if she was actually a replicant. But apparently, she's human in the series. So yeah, yeah. I'll also watch Blade Runner 2099. Maybe I'll be positively surprised. Let's hope so, huh? Let's hope so. Strongly agree. The deeper topics have to be explored. Yeah, exactly. Raised by Wolves was an amazing job. I enjoyed it, and I thought what that actor from who's actually in Dune Prophecy as well, and he's in the Vikings series. Yeah, he did a great job of being this weirdo, you know. But he almost plays exactly the same character in Dune Prophecy. He's very strange in both. So yeah, I would like the exploration of what replicants are to be explored. Mother and father are currently in Westeros. Exactly. That's true. They are actually. You're right, and I love it. I love it. I love that they're both in House of the Dragon. Every time I see them, my face lights up because I really loved their characters in Raised by Wolves, and so I'm really happy to see them, you know, get more work. And she, at first, I didn't recognize her. She looks totally different in Westeros. Um, but she really knows how to sit on a throne and she knows how to govern. She brings this regality to that character, which I love. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's great to see them in House of the Dragon for sure. And I've been enjoying House of the Dragon. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know the material, the source material and the book, so I don't know how sacrilegious it is against the books or whatever. But I've been enjoying the show. Um, it's been interesting to watch. So yeah, that's House of the Dragon. Okay, the entire pit. Someone says entire page. Oh man, I loved Raised by Wolves. Yeah, me too. I enjoyed Raised by Wolves very much. And I hope they bring it back. Yes, Travis Fimmel is his name. Yes, he's the guy in Vikings and Dune Prophecy. Absolutely. And I just think his character is very similar, you know, in terms of weirdness and strangeness. And I almost think it was kind of in the Raised by Wolves character of his almost inspired the completely new character that appears in Dune Prophecy because it's in no book. That character is in none of the books and is a completely original character that was made up specifically for the TV show. So yeah, it's interesting. Maybe someone said maybe this is how they promote the conspiracy against Paul in Dune 3 using you as an example. Maybe I'm part of the conspiracy. Yeah, who knows? The mother looks great as Jane Arryn. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love her in the show. She brings a nice gravitas to to all the scenes she's in, and she's so unbothered about certain things, which I love. She's great. She's great in it, and I really do hope they get to bring her back in a kind of wrap up of Raised by Wolves. At least one more season would be cool. Okay, so guys, let's get to really the main agenda, which was looking at Blade Runner and everything, which is why I have this placeholder here for you. But I also wanted to talk to you about Dune 3. There's some new revelations which I think you might be interested to hear about, some stuff that I've discovered. So I announced earlier this week that um, the Guild Navigator has been confirmed to be this that's in the image here, which I already knew. I told you guys in the first trailer breakdown that this was going to be the Guild Navigator, and it's actually been officially confirmed, and it's confirmed in two sources. One of the sources is it was actually revealed in Gizmodo because of the Art and Soul of Dune Part 3. They're doing a special edition, and it was revealed that they're going to be including a replica of this sarcophagus as part of the as part of this special edition. And they actually name exactly what this thing is, this sarcophagus, and they actually call it a Spacing Guild Navigator. So that's confirmation right there. The other place where it's been confirmed is through Warner Brothers Discovery. Their official wallpapers, even they called it the Spacing Guild Navigator sarcophagus. And this was as early as the 8th of July. So this was confirmed very early on this month. So it's definitely going to be a Guild Navigator. Is it going to be Edric is the question. I believe so. So Edric is confirmed. Fishboy. Finally. Exactly. Like, he's finally been confirmed after however long it's been, months and months and months of speculation, you know? So yeah, it's really nice to have him confirmed, and we can finally move on from all the guesswork, you know. And some of the guesswork was valid, you know. It could have very well been hate wrapped as a gift in one of these kind of sarcophagi. And the thing is, it may actually be an axolotl tank as well. Who knows? Maybe axolotl tanks look different, but they might act as both a tank and an axolotl tank and a tank for spice gas. So who knows? Maybe it's kind of one of those things that's been like merged into one. But it's nice to finally have confirmation anyway. Now I wonder who's in that tank acting. Good question, exactly. Now, there are rumors that the visor does open and you get to see who's inside swirling in spice gas. It's just a rumor, but it kind of makes sense. I mean, it kind of looks like frosted glass, some part of it, and perhaps that frosted glass can become visible glass, and then you get to see who's inside. Whether or not it's going to be like an actual actor in prosthetics, or if it's just going to be purely CGI, I don't know. We don't know who's going to be involved in portraying Edric or this Spacing Guild Navigator, but we do get to see what's inside. So we kind of do get to see Fishboy in some way, which is cool. Exactly, yeah. I mean, let's go. Exactly. Finally, we finally get confirmation, you know. But to be confirmed in this way, again, it's so unceremonious. It's like, why are you hiding this? You know, I get hiding the actual look of Edric, but at least you know, tell us who the actor is and who's going to play him, so we can kind of, so it excites us, you know, so it excites us as to who, you know, how Edric is really going to be portrayed and what his voice is kind of going to sound like and stuff like that. Instead, we're just left guessing whether it was Edric at all, you know. And again, it's so kind of unceremonious and it's miserable, and it's, you know, it's kind of, I think it's more secretive than it needs to be, in my opinion. But that's just me. um, so yeah, at least that has been revealed, and that's out the way. Now we get a really interesting look at the ships. Now, I actually put this naughty little image together. I do apologize to any Warner Brothers people watching. Please don't crucify me on an X. But I made this image based off of the book cover for Dune Part 3, The Art and Soul of Dune Part 3, should I say. And we get to see one of the ships in, you know, in a lot of detail. So what do you guys think of this ship? What do you guys think this is? Let me know in the chat. Mm, I think maybe due to certain issues that I experience with live streaming, I've tried to fix it. It hasn't really worked so well. I may be getting comments delayed, and you may be hearing me in a very long delay. I'm trying to rectify this as best as I can. Someone says Wallach 9. Yes, I think this is Wallach 9. I definitely think this is Wallach 9. It looks like it's snowing. Those look like the Bene Gesserit. And this ship looks similar to a ship we've actually seen in the trailer, which is this ship here. This looks like the same ship as this concept art. So I do hope we get to see this actual concept art visualized in Dune Part 3. But it does look like the same ship. It has the same kind of nose and that kind of weird triangular effect. So yeah, I mean, this isn't a final concept art, everybody. So just so you know, this is just me putting it together as best as I could. I had to get rid of the text and the spine from the book cover, but this is roughly what it will look like. Hopefully when the real concept art is revealed, I will share it with you guys. So yeah, that's just a quick look. Let me just get to some comments. Perhaps they'll have Edric be in different containers to move around during the movie. I'm also just glad he and the navigators exist. Absolutely. I think he will be released into a bigger chamber on the Highliner, and hopefully we'll get to see him released into that bigger chamber. Kind of ironic. Guild navigators open the galaxy to all, but they are confined to literal sarcophagus. I guess they can leave it aboard a Highliner. Yeah, exactly. That's what I believe will happen. I do like the look of a sarcophagus. Do I necessarily like it for Edric? I don't know. I mean, he's supposed to be claustrophobic. So they've completely removed that from his character because that's the most claustrophobic thing I've ever seen, you know? But yeah, so yeah, that's a cool pick. Yeah, I agree. It is an interesting pick, and I like the red tint. It's different. It doesn't. I've not seen a red tint like that on a ship for Dune before, for the new movies. So it is cool to kind of see what it looks like in more detail, and it does look like it's on Wallach 9. I'm really curious on how he'll be shown interacting, and one major question remains: is the spice going to get its importance? Because let's face it, they're all addicted to it. Exactly. I really do hope there is a central focus on that, and in a way I kind of feel it is, because if Chani is doing what I think she's doing in the trailers, which is trying to capture a sandworm, that implies that she's capturing it to take it away off Arrakis to break Paul's monopoly over the spice, and it's one way she can use to destroy him and his empire. So hopefully that is directly linked to spice and the reason why she's doing that. So it will be interesting to see. People are loving the pick. Thanks. Yeah, I put it together. I mean, all credit goes to the actual artists themselves. I don't exactly know who it is yet, but it is a beautiful image. And normally what happens with this concept art is they actually make it a real visual. So hopefully this will be almost a spot on shot in the movie. This is what it will look like. But it'll be nice to get to see, you know, the Bene Gesserit in their element on Warlock 9 and to see how things are on that planet, you know. Just going to look at more comments. No idea. The red glass is ominous. Exactly. Completely agree. Hate an axolotl tank. Isn't Hate delivered trained as a mentat? Yes, he is. Wouldn't that be well past the cloning tank stage? All the speculation about the sarcophagus never made sense to me because of that. I hear you. Yeah, exactly. I mean, but what I believe, there was a point where he was in an axolotl tank to save and preserve his flesh, and he was transported from literally from where he fell in an axolotl tank to a highliner, and then to the Tleilaxu, and that's where he was basically regenerated from his own body. So that's kind of what we thought perhaps could be shown. I know it wasn't. I know I never really said that in my trailer, but it was still something that was a valid point technically, and I believe Nerd Cookies was one person who said that it could be Hate, and she was imagining this whole sequence where you were taking the body to the highliner, which actually does happen in the book. So it's a fair point to make. And it seems, again, because it seems so claustrophobic, you wouldn't necessarily say, oh, that's immediately Edric in the spice tank. So, but I just know that, you know, how Denis Villeneuve does things is very minimalist. And I just knew in my bones that this was going to be his take on a Spacing Guild navigator, because he doesn't like showing too much of anything. He likes to hide and conceal and stuff. And if he had his way, Jessica in Dune Part 2 wouldn't have had hardly any screen time at all. I mean, the actress who plays her, she would have been completely covered because she had this net covering her head most of the time, because it looked cool and ominous, almost like the Reverend Mother Goddess Helen Mohiam in Dune Part 1. She too had this net covering her face, and it kind of adds this ominous, scary element to the Bene Gesserit. And he was going to have her appear that way almost throughout the entire movie, as a Bene Gesserit on Arrakis. But she fought for her screen time, and she wanted that kind of the veil to be lifted at least a couple of times, as cool as it looked. So, but yeah, the point is, I mean, Denis Villeneuve likes to conceal and hide and make things ominous in that way. So I just almost immediately knew that this was going to be kind of Edric's portrayal. The ship looks like a shark opening its mouth. Good, yeah, that's a good point. It does look like a shark, actually, and the red looks like its eyes. Nice discovery there. That didn't occur to me until now. And it almost looks like a shark in water. The circle landing plane, it looks like it's kind of like a shark's mouth emerging from the water. So perhaps this is some Jaws inspiration or something. It'll be interesting to see where they kind of got that inspiration from ultimately. Looks like a lizard or a frog. Yeah, I mean, it could be as well. Yeah, it looks animalistic. I think perhaps that's what he was probably going for. It looks like some sort of animal. I like that they extended this idea from ornithopters. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It does kind of look partially like an ornithopter. Yeah, you're right. The ship looks like a turtle or some reptilian. Yeah, exactly. Um, so this is definitely Wallach Klein. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Probably during the conspiracy meeting. Yes, I mean in the trailer, what we saw was that there's this ship and it's docking with a greater ship, which I think is a Tleilaxu ship, which is then trying to go through a highliner, which will fold space. So there is that element. Um, who this act? So now, I mean, remember I said that this ship looked like it was a Tleilaxu ship. I actually mentioned that in my first Dune part 3 trailer breakdown, and I said it had like an Ankh symbol on the back of it. This is probably now, that was probably wrong. um I do admit when I'm maybe mistaken or wrong on this channel. I don't shy away from that because no one is perfect. um but this could potentially be a Bene Gesserit ship. The Ankh symbol seemingly on the back of it does look interesting. Whether or not it actually is meant to be there, I don't know. But the reason I said it was a Tleilaxu ship was because of the Ankh symbol. And we know that the Ankh symbol is like a symbol of life. And it's all pharaonic, isn't it? And the sarcophagus for Edric was also, pharaonic in nature too. So it kind of, I thought it all matched in that way. But we'll see. Tleilaxu finally. I'd be shocked if they appear beyond just Sightale. I hope we get to see quite a bit of them actually. It's different from the ship that the Bene Gesserit were in when they went to Caladan in part 1. Yes, absolutely. That ship was more spherical, wasn't it? Yes. And they even portrayed that spherical ship in the Adventures of the Imperium book, in the artwork, and even in the artwork for Dune Part 1. So yes, that's why I didn't think this was a Bene Gesserit ship. I thought this was Tleilaxu, and it still could be. So I'm not going to write myself off just yet. But yeah, it could still be a Tleilaxu ship that the Bene Gesserit were merely aboard. So we'll see. But yeah, so this is the concept art we're covering so far. Amazing work done cleaning the pic. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I just try to just make it look more realistic and get rid of all of the text just to kind of get an impression of what it really is. And I really enjoyed kind of editing this together, and I had to get the feet right, the legs, because it didn't work out so well originally because it was so skewed, the image, and even some of the panel work was difficult to match. But luckily I managed to do it as best as I could. But yeah, I mean, all credit goes to the actual artist. I'm not the artist. And hopefully when they do release it, I will share it and I'll credit the artist, of course. The Bene Gesserit look like chess pieces in that image. Yes, they do, like kind of like pawns in this whole great game. You're absolutely right. I can already imagine this pick in a movie with Hans Zimmer's music. Yeah, some ominous drone music would be cool. Got the deluxe edition of the first Art and Soul book, passed on the second one, and the third is $750 for a small statue and a Denis Villeneuve signature. Yeah, I saw the price. And I also saw what they're offering. Like they're offering part of a sandworm skin panel, like just a small square of it. And they're trying to charge, I don't know if it was 750. I thought it was 400, but yeah, I mean, even $400 I think is very, very expensive for something that's not so significant in terms of what they're offering with it. And the model looked very cheap. I'm not going to lie. I think it's only just a pre-rendered model. I don't think it's actually the final product. Hopefully it'll look much better than that. But I haven't shared that image because I don't feel it does it justice just yet. So when they actually release real life looking models of the sarcophagus, because apparently it comes on a stand as well, then I will perhaps share it on my socials. Um, but yeah, I mean, you only get two signatures. You only get Denis Villeneuve and Tanya Lapointe's signature. You don't get Timothée Chalamet or Zendaya or anyone like that, like the previous editions, which kind of makes them superior in a way. I mean, you had some really interesting giveaways with the original special edition. You had like a thumper, and that was cool. That would have been amazing to own. I didn't get to buy that, unfortunately, or uh, see what it looks like in real life. But it looked like a really nice collection piece. But yeah, the new book, the third one, I feel that they could have done better, honestly, in terms of what they give you. I just hope that the actual sarcophagus model looks better than it is portrayed as, because so far it doesn't look that all that impressive, actually. Don't think Denis wanted to compete with the previous Navigator designs. In my opinion, he wanted to show a different side of them. Look confined, but they have access to the entire universe. Yeah, I mean, he's welcome to do things the way he sees that are relevant, and portray them in his own way. It's his adaptation at the end of the day. We can agree with it or disagree, but yeah, he doesn't want to compete for sure, and I think he's trying to keep the weirdness to a minimum, perhaps. But hopefully, Edric does look significantly strange and cool. And I did offer some previous concept art that was created by Carlos Huante, who is also working on Dune Part 3 for the creature design, specifically for the navigators. Um, but this concept art was done for Arrival, and it was abandoned concept art. So hopefully they're going to kind of use something similar to what we saw in that Arrival concept art, and hopefully it's going to be in Dune Part 3 as Edric. We'll have to wait and see. Um, Benny just failed at the end of the day. Pretty much, yeah, they didn't get to control what they wanted to control. I'm really curious and a bit concerned on the use of Kodak film will affect the film itself. I love film, but really curious on its use here. Yeah, I mean, I don't actually know what it will be used for, but it's probably going to be those grainy shots, if I'm not mistaken. I could be completely wrong. No, I mean, I do know that he wanted to use digital for desert. Denis Villeneuve wanted to use digital for desert because of its harshness. I do remember that. I remember reading that. Um, as for Kodak, I don't know how it will be utilized exactly. Spicy space shark. Yes, exactly. It could even look like a snake. You're right. What would be cool is if it had like these kind of extending fangs that came out of it just under its eye. That would definitely make it look like a snake. You know how they try and extract poison from snakes in those like plastic glass containers? That would be what it would remind me of, and that would be pretty cool. So people see a shark, people see a snake, people some sort see a toad even. Um, Also, hope we see Hate remember his past. I hope so too, and I believe we will in some way. Many machines on X, new machines, better than those on Riches. Yes, exactly. I hope he has a cool voice. I hope they top the June 1984 voice, which is quotable as we have done just now. Yeah, I do hope we have a nice rendition of Edric. I even didn't mind the voice work in the TV show. It worked, you know. But people will be like, oh, you know, this is Darth Vader, or it sounds like Darth Vader. So they need to kind of be careful of this whole treading on Star Wars, you know, because I think there will be people who equate a robotic sounding voice to Darth Vader. They'll say that Darth Vader's in the tank and all of this, you know. I can just hear all of these jokes being made and these memes even. Can't wait to see lighting colors for these scenes. Those deep blues already look great in the trailer. Oh, I guess you're referring to the Blade Runner. Yes. I hope it will be I hope it will be a good series. I'm just trying to remain hopeful. Um some people don't like Denis Villeneuve's vision. It's conceited. You're entitled to the opinion, and I'll definitely be going into more detail about my opinions after Dune Part 3, because I've kind of originally my intention was to talk about I started a whole series called the Dune Cinematic Universe, and that was covering Dune Part 1 and 2. And the reason I began the series was because Dune Part 1 and 2 were supposed to be one complete adaptation of the first Dune book. Now that that's done, I thought, okay, let me do this series, because they're going to be doing Dune Messiah, which I already knew, which they already said was going to be a very different film, and also set many years later. But then they decided to call it Dune Part 3 instead of Dune Messiah. So now it's kind of like they're trying to make it part of, again, a whole of Dune Part 1 and 2, and that this is the third part of that whole vision. So now I have to judge the whole Dune cinematic universe so far based on all of those three films combined. So in a way, I have to wait till the third movie is released to finally get out all of my opinions on this. I have notes and notes and notes. I have so many notes, so many criticisms, so many positives to mention about what I enjoyed. So there's a lot to kind of break down, and I didn't want to do it rushed and running into that. So let's hope we can get this out, you know. It'll be obviously after the third movie is released, where I really get to resume that series again and talk about it in more detail. On the Simon & Schuster site, there is a cool pic of the insider of a Highliner. From shuttle to freight to Highliner. Oh, really? Always a bigger fish. Oh, okay. I'll have to look into that. Maybe I missed that. Is that just been released recently? I will look into that and then I'll probably share it. Yeah, thanks for that. Are there any space battles in Dune? Are there any? That's a good question. There aren't really, and that's where it differs from Star Wars. It mostly happens on world, doesn't it? And I think in the last book there may have been a little skirmish, but I don't remember. It's not very visceral in my mind. But yeah, it's not really. There isn't really a space battle as such. There are battles, I believe, that happen in the skies, but not in space itself. Kodak could be more close-up, intimate shots of characters' interiors, possibly the spice visions as well. Yes, and perhaps even part of the psychedelic unit, because that spark kind of reminded me a bit of Kodak. It kind of reminded me of that kind of crispness of Kodak. So yeah, it could be the psychedelic unit which they're using Kodak for. Um, it's just in Lynch, I understand what Chone was, the guild, the Iowa navigators, what they do, etc. I just feel it explained those things better. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he leaves so much out of these new movies, and it's given other people the opportunity to be explainers, but we shouldn't have to. It should be in the movies themselves, or at least in the TV series that they make. Edric's voice will be very quiet, hoarse, and asthmatic as his vocal cords are seared by the spice gas. Yes, I mean, and as well, it's also, we're hearing him through a tank. We're hearing him through devices. So that's what I meant by this whole mechanicalized sounding voice. And obviously they wouldn't want to make it similar to Darth Vader. So I guess they're going to have to try and approach it perhaps differently, or at least try and make it sound unique. And perhaps they won't use that deep of a voice to avoid that. In the first two Dune movies, a voice speaks before the Warner Brothers logo. I think that same voice will be in Dune Part 3 for Edric. Well, from what I saw, there wasn't a voice in the beginning of the movie. We just saw the opening credits. But they may add that voice in later, so I'm not completely ruling that out. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to a new image, which is some more art that appeared on the cover of the Art and Soul of Dune Part 3. What do you think this is? I, again, put this image together. I removed the text and tried to make it a whole image. And to me, it reminds me of two things. One is it reminds me of navigation, because you can see the stars and you can see stars are circled. So this looks like something that the navigators would use, like a kind of user interface, if you will, of guild navigation. And perhaps this is Edric's guild navigation, because he's also someone who has the ability to see futures in a way. And because he has certain prescience, that blocks other prescient people like Paul Atreides. That's why Paul Atreides doesn't know of a plot, because he cannot see it due to Edric. So I think this image is partly Edric and his navigation. That's the first thing. Sam of Dune mentions, I believe in Dune Encyclopedia, they mentioned the longest space battle was only 60 seconds. Well, there you go. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they really don't do those space battles. It's really Star Wars that does that. I know you're talking Dune, but I just want to say I love Blade Runner films as well as Cyberpunk 2077. And the genre as a whole, that kind of future is escape for me, and want to live in that kind of future. Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely 100% agree. I absolutely wanted to live in that Blade Runner world, as dystopian as it looked like. But I just, there's this kind of coziness about it. There's this kind of way that the movie understood me when I first watched it, which I really want to delve into in the future. I'll talk about Blade Runner in more detail in a video that's soon to come, hopefully. And I just loved the rain. I'm a big lover of rain. I love being indoors when it rains. I love being outdoors when it rains, when it's warm and it's not too cold. I just love the rain, and I just love the atmosphere that it created. So I really hope there's rain in this TV show. Okay, don't forget the rain. Don't miss out on the rain. I know it's sunny, mostly in all of the promo pics and everything. There wasn't a single shot of rain, which upset me in the trailer. But let's hope for some rain in this TV show. Cyberpunk 2077, yeah. The game I suppose you're referring to. I haven't actually got to play that. I would love to have time to play games on Twitch. That's been one of my dreams of mine. I never got around to doing it, but I would love to play beautiful games. And Cyberpunk 2077 really did look like one of those cool games that I would have wanted to play. Um, so someone says that it thinks it's this kind of crest. It could be. Someone thinks it's the Golden Path. Yes, it could be the Golden Path. This tree, it looks like a tree. It looks like a tree of paths. And that's what I kind of tend to call it now. When I first saw it, I said it's a tree of paths. And the main path looks like the last final branch at the top, which looks like a diamond or golden path. Now, this symbol was actually close to a diamond of a Souk doctor. I mean, this looks like a Souk doctor conditioning mark, which was a diamond shape. So it's interesting how it looks like that, but I don't think it is trying to be that. I think maybe that could be the symbol of the golden path. I'm not sure. But the way that it's all encircled, the tree is in this main circle surrounded by other ripples, and it looks like ripples in time, so it does look like possible futures or the golden path. To me, it's possible futures ultimately. And this goes back to, again, the whole Edric interface thing I was saying earlier, which it looks like a navigation panel where you have selected stars, and it selected this one path, which could look like a main or the main or most important path. And perhaps that is a golden path as well. But I think it's more about possible futures, and those are the branches of futures that are significant. So that's the image on the Art and Soul of Dune Part 3. Branching paths, yeah, now that you mentioned it. Yeah, so that's what I think it is. But who knows? Dune was never supposed to be pew pew lasers movie or book. No, that's true. You're absolutely right. Exactly. If you like cyberpunk, check out the music genre dreampunk. If you like rain, check out Sangam. Okay, noted. I will check that out. Thank you for the recommendations. Absolutely. The top leaf is significant in this logo. Exactly. Yes, that to me looks like the main path, and perhaps it is the path the path that Edric sees, where they destroy Paul Atreides, and maybe that's what he's after in this kind of visual, and this maybe is a representation of that. Like a star on a Xmas tree. Yeah, exactly. It does look kind of like the final angel that you put on like a Christmas tree or a star. Exactly. I just checked, it was the Battle of Corin and lasted 2 hours. Oh, I see. So it wasn't 60 seconds. Right. Okay. But of course, that whole thing isn't necessarily canon. I don't ever recall it being spoken of in the Dune books by Frank Herbert himself, so I'm not too sure. But yes, they were never really big on the whole space battle thing. It looks like a family tree, a long uninterrupted bloodline. Yes, you're right, actually. It does look like a family tree. It does look like it could be a family tree if you just had faces on each stem. But because it's surrounded by stars and space, I just feel like it's more about time and future rather than family and people. But you never know. It could be the Bene Gesserit looking at bloodlines, and this could just be, the rest of it could just be like a throwing us off kind of thing. Because we do know, we saw in the Dune Prophecy series, they did have this whole tree stem of family trees and birth and things like that, and that was how they discovered who the mother of the child was. But that has a main predominant branch that's at the top of the hierarchy. Yes, exactly. Would you consider streaming some of the Dune games like Spice Wars or the Dune Awakening on the channel. That was I have played some of the Dune Awakening game. I can't lie. My system, I don't know if it can take it. I think I may need a huge upgrade, and that will be very costly. Um, I was fortunate enough to have a very good system before 2020 when all of the graphic cards were very hard to come by or very expensive. So I upgraded just before all hell broke loose. But now it could probably do with a newer upgrade. So I had to play Dune Awakening on quite low settings, so it wasn't going to be looking perfect. Um, but yes, I'll definitely consider it in the future if I'm able to, have my own space where I can really um, do that. I mean, I'm just trying at the moment to master the whole, live streaming in general. I would like to really try and improve it as much as possible and offer you more chances to get to, give me your questions and for me to cover those, etc. But yeah, I will consider it in the future for sure. Any Jesuit logo for their archives? Yes, it could be. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It could actually be a Bene Gesserit kind of interface um, that we get to see in Dune Part 3. It's like a library logo for breeding lines. Yeah, that's true. It definitely could be. Um, the image reminds me of a constellation as well. Fits in with the path theme. Exactly, yes. Someone says, if you like cyberpunk, I cannot recommend highly enough Ghost in the Shell either. Yes, I mean, an absolute classic. I actually have seen the film. Beautiful, beautiful movie and a masterpiece. I actually got to watch most of the TV series as well. Um, and it has some really interesting ideas. I really liked how they were trying to push the whole digital crime and uh, the characters and the interfaces and things like that. I thought it was interesting. Um, I think they re-released it in 4K. I'm not too sure, but I definitely want to watch it again. I mean, it's just a classic. Um, there's an anime film or the new series on Prime that's based on the manga. Yeah, I've heard that there is a new series. Is it out yet? Because I do want to watch it if it is. It looks very, very promising. So yeah, I will check out the series as well. Um, Someone said I have very low expectations for 2099. Looks very off and doesn't feel like the original ones. I hear you. It does look different. It does it kind of looks newer but also cheaper, perhaps. Maybe it's just the visual effects haven't hit just yet. I definitely want to watch it in 4K if I can. And I hope they've given it enough budget. Let's just put it that way. We need Saint Alia of the Knife done right, plus madness. Yes, I completely agree. I really hope. I mean, that's one of the characters I'm most looking forward to seeing. Um, but who knows? I mean, I definitely hope that they do give her some nuance as well, not just a complete mad woman, you know. But I hope they do definitely make her Saint Alia of the knife. So let's hope she does knife work instead of gun work. Um, and I hope they give her, they do her character justice because we didn't get Child Alia. I kind of felt that that was a cop out. And I was very disappointed. But I understand it due to the changes that they made. Maybe different paths in a genetic way, but only one to get to the perfect organism in genetics. The trees are used very often. Yes, or the threes are used very often. Yes, that's true. Yeah, you're right. Each branch has three. That's true. Perhaps this is perhaps this is the golden path then, because they're all searching for the Kwisatz Haderach, right? And they believe they found him. But have they ultimately? Is he actually the one that they're looking for? And perhaps that final diamond is the one that they're looking for. And perhaps that isn't Paul Atreides. Perhaps that is supposed to be referring to someone else who we get to see in the trailer. If you know, you know. And that could actually kind of explain their plans perhaps in the future, where they plan to go after Dune Part 3, where we might get to see Children of Dune and God Emperor of Dune being adapted with those characters. So let's see. Someone said Dream Residue by Kagami Smile is another dreampunk masterpiece. Okay, I'll check that out. Thanks for the recommendation. It reminds me of a caiman, these traditional Japanese family crests used to identify lineage, status, and affiliation. That's interesting. Thank you for that. I will actually look into that. I don't know if I've pronounced it correctly, but yeah, it did kind of give this Japanese vibe, but I couldn't place my tongue on it. But yeah, it does look like that. Yeah, Japanese in a way. Yeah, okay. That could be it. You're right. Secrets of June, new side channel, Pixels of the Future, just spitballing about of the new channel. But what channel would that be for? Would that be for gaming? A gaming channel. Yeah. Who knows? I've heard that they don't really do new channels justice anymore. They don't give them time to go. They don't look kindly on them on the algorithm anymore, apparently. So if I were to start from scratch, well, you may never hear from me again. The Apple TV Neuromancer adaptation will be a very tough nut to crack. Interesting. Yes, the series is out, but there's the 3 out of 10 episodes, and it's out every Tuesday. Okay, so it's released every week. Okay, cool. I will definitely check that out. There is another anime I wanted to check out, um, which I've heard is very popular. I don't know how true that is, but it's like this Iranian kind of anime called Jadugar or something, a witch in Mongolia. I've been hearing that that's a very cool anime, so I may check that out first. But I definitely want to get back into cyberpunk anime for sure. And new Ghost in the Shell is out, then definitely want to check that out. Okay, so let's move on from this now to yes. So this is just a quick update. So as I said to everyone before, all my socials are doing okay now. My Instagram is back, my YouTube is back, and my Facebook is back. I'm still waiting for an explanation. I emailed Warner Brothers. They didn't get back to me yet as to why those things happened. If it was a mistake, I'm willing to forgive. If they actually targeted me, which it felt like an actual coordinated attack, because in the same day, all three of those things were affected: my Instagram, my Facebook, and my YouTube. If it was done on purpose, then the question is why? But if it was a mistake or something, I hope they can be the bigger person or the bigger conglomerate or whatever the heck they are and apologize for it. Because I lost revenue from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on all those socials. And it may not be much, but it's still money that keeps the spice flowing on this channel. It keeps the lights on, and every little helps. So for them to take that away from me, and there will be no compensation. At least an apology would make me feel like they at least have a spine and they're at least somewhat human. Even if it was an AI attack, I don't know if it was a real person or if it was a coordinated AI attack. I have no idea, but I just need some kind of explanation. Anyway, so Blade Runner 2099, just quickly getting back to that. So we saw some images that was released, and I kind of thought the vibe, it kind of was slightly reminiscent of Blade Runner, but not necessarily completely like the originals. But the lighting, seems a little dreamy and stuff like that. And, you got the harsh lights, which is reminiscent of the first Blade Runner, and even 2049 as well. I just hope that they are prominent. They have something prominent to say. I hope that it's intelligent. Please don't dumb it down. Please. We don't need any more dumb sci-fi. I don't need to know this is good, this is bad. You can be nuanced. You can leave things up in the air, but at least ask interesting questions. You know, I'm sorry, but the last couple of Blade Runner projects, they just didn't land. We already know the movies flopped at the cinema, right? Both of them, the original and the second one. The TV show, it didn't do much for me. The animated show, I watched it. It wasn't particularly amazing. I didn't even mind the animation style, even though I don't normally like the animation style. Um, but the whole thing with storyline wasn't particularly compelling, and I didn't mind following a female lead either, which is where this TV show is going in that direction. The female lead in the animation was promising. It seemed like it could be cool. I just didn't really personally like it myself. I felt it wasn't intelligent sci-fi enough for me. I just needed a bit more, and it felt like it was for a very young crowd. It had like this kind of like weird soundtrack to it. Like it was kind of like like cool edgy music, which like rap and stuff like that. And it just didn't fit for me. The world didn't feel the same to me. So but sorry, to their credit, and I'm going to say this now, some of the scenes in the animated series I actually did enjoy. The rain scenes were atmospheric. I liked some of the atmosphere that they built in the show. I have to give them their flowers. But that animated series, it could have been so much more. It could have been intelligent sci-fi for the newer generation, and I just don't feel it really was. It didn't have much to say. Um, did they not also have the same character that was in Dune? Sorry, Dune, in Blade Runner 2049, the Somali guy. They had him animated. That was cool. They brought him back. That was nice to see. But again, they didn't do much with his character. I think even the same actor got to voice him. Um, I'm glad he was kind of involved in that show a little bit more. But yeah, I just feel like it could have been so much more. I may end up watching it again, um, and maybe even review it slightly just to give people a fair chance to maybe check it out and see if it's good or not. But yeah, the best thing that for me that came out of this whole new Blade Runner revival back in the day when Villeneuve took over was the animated the anime film. That one film, oh, was just sublime. I loved it. I loved the look. I loved the visuals. I loved the people who worked on it. It was someone who'd worked on legacy anime before, something really cool. Um, and it was just beautifully done, beautifully made, but so short. I would have watched an entire series on this, wouldn't you? An entire series, is that too much to ask for in this style? It would have been so cool. um I loved it. I loved it. And I think it made its way onto the DVD as well. Um, it was just cool. I really enjoyed it. I just loved the visuals. Um, but yeah, so let's see what happens with this whole series. I mean, this is trying to give us the feeling of Deckard to me. So I think that might even be the same kind of gun he used. Um, Apparently they wanted to get the flying cars right, so we're going to see physical flying cars as well, which is cool. Um, yeah, I mean, I just hope it's going to be a good show. Because people are talking about it, let me just go back to uh, this, the issue I had on my channel. Because people are making comments, and for some reason I can't actually select it. So people were saying that it was 100% attack targeted on me. Yes, I feel it was, honestly. A targeted attack, and they didn't call you a content creator when you went for a reason. Exactly. Um, there was an entire queue, and I saw people that I didn't recognize, and it was a very small queue. And I saw people pushing into that queue who weren't even content creators. I didn't say anything, but they just wanted to get their seats, and I kind of understand what they were, you know, why they did it. But yeah, you know, there are people who should have been invited as content creators to that event, especially Mark from Dune Info. And we all had to scramble for our own tickets. I'm not saying that we're special and we're above anybody else. You know, I'm happy to have paid for a ticket. Luckily, the tickets were free. But if I had missed out on getting a free ticket and it was all sold out, I wouldn't have been able to cover the event for you guys. So everybody would have missed out, including myself. Um, And the whole point of inviting content creators is to avoid something like that. If you want your movie to be promoted, you invite the content creators down. You don't leave them to buy their own tickets or to chance even getting not getting a ticket at all. So yeah, I feel you know, it would have been nice to have been invited. I didn't expect it though, and it's normal, you know. But the whole taking down the video afterwards and my page at my two pages at the same time, I was trying to coordinate with Legendary at the time, who I say props to them. They were able to help me resolve the issue, but it was them who helped, not Warner Brothers. And it seems like it was mostly Warner Brothers' mess that Legendary were cleaning up, and that shouldn't happen at all. But as I was trying to coordinate with Legendary about this, then my Instagram disappeared. I couldn't even comment to Legendary anymore. So I had to take to X and tag Legendary and say, I'm sorry, I cannot reply to you because my Instagram is gone as well. So it really did feel like a coordinated attack. Whether it was on purpose or not, I don't know, but it definitely felt like it, for sure. Someone else says it's a real shame they have targeted you. Yeah, it's sad that they target anybody, any fan. I'm sad for other fans who have been targeted in the past, and I'm going to make a whole video on it when this whole thing is over. When Dune Part 3 is released, I'm going to talk about everybody so that they're not forgotten, and I'm going to mention all of the issues I've experienced, including from the people themselves who are responsible for the movie. I'm going to talk about everything, and I'm not going to hold back. The only reason I've been patient is because I want to see what they do. I want to see what they do to the fans. I want to see how they treat me. I want to see how they treat the fandom and what they do for the fandom. And then afterwards, I can analyze it all and look into it. So, yes, forgive, maybe forget never. You know, that's exactly how I feel. I'm not going to lie to you because I try and be a forgiving person. I really do. Um, but the thing is, if you forget, you let people walk over you. And I feel like people in positions of power shouldn't be able to do that, or shouldn't be given the luxury of pure forgiveness. I don't think they deserve it. um, if you have power and you use it in a bad way, I feel like you don't deserve forgiveness, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Um, right. They don't quite understand how vital the conversation around their IP in the community that actually care about the art is. Uh, Detrimental to their longevity. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're absolutely right. I think it's going to reflect very poorly on them, especially the things that I have to say that I'll come out with in the future. Um, People may think twice about these filmmakers and the way they treat people. Um, and not just them, you know, even people in the fandom themselves. I really feel like as a fandom, we need to be respectful of each other, of our differing opinions. We shouldn't um, we shouldn't, you know, write off people who differ from us in our opinions. You know, I've always wanted to kind of have a civilized community that we differ at, but at the end of the day, you know, we also can still remain friends. I would love that to be the takeaway from the community that I've tried to build. So let me let's just move back on to Blade Runner and finish up on Blade Runner. There was an animated show. Yes, I think it was called, I don't know if it was Black Lotus or something like that. It was kind of like that 3D style anime. It wasn't it wasn't anime to a T. It was kind of like a new type of animation. Um it was quite fluid, and it was okay. It worked. You know, it had some interesting visuals. It wasn't the best thing for me. Yeah, you need a little explanation to cut you off, just like that. Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. I'd love an explanation as to what happened. It's going to be the alien Earth of the. I really hope not. um, let's hope they actually have put a lot of thought and care into this. I hope it isn't the rings of power of the Blade Runner universe. Um, yeah, definitely check out that animated film. It's really beautiful. I'll go to it now. Actually, it's short but beautiful, and I really enjoyed it. And I like I said, I could have watched an entire series. Give me 26 episodes of this anime any day, please. And I would be perfectly happy if this was the future of Blade Runner. If it was to be in an anime style, even Dune, I would love as an anime style series where it gets time to breathe, where all of the characters get to have their moment, and where all the plots get to be developed and unravel in a timely manner, not rushed in and crammed into a 2 hour, 35-minute movie, you know? If Jared Leto isn't in this, I might watch it. He's not in the new series apparently, and neither is Ryan Gosling or Harrison Ford. So yeah, the Total Recall 2070 show was hitting the right beats, but they cut it short and killed it just as it became promising. I never heard of that or saw that. Is it worth checking out? I might do that. If it's worth checking out, let me know. Um, Yeah, that sounds interesting. Oh yes, the anime short for 2049 is gorgeous. Yeah, it was beautiful. By the way, they once announced a Blade Runner game 3 years ago. Yes, is this the game you're talking about called Labyrinth? Um, I even shared a post about it, and it looked beautiful. So I really do hope um they get to release it. I really hope so. If it doesn't have that classic film noir style, then it's not Blade Runner. I completely agree. I completely agree. Okay, let's move on now to Euphoria. Because we were talking about Hunter Schiffer and everything, I thought we may as well cover Euphoria. If you saw Euphoria, I was really upset with the season finale. Um, and season three overall was apparently, everyone. I mean, it's been kind of critically panned. I think I don't know. People didn't seem to be happy with it anyway. I wasn't happy with it, but I also, it could have had a redemption factor in its finale, and it didn't have that. I felt what they did with Rue's character. This is going to be spoilers for the season three, so if you haven't seen it, then you shouldn't watch this. But if you know, like I covered the extra episode where Rue gets to talk to Ali, and it was this really interesting thing where it was so hopeful and positive, and Ali was giving her advice and she was taking it on board, and they were having this whole discussion, and it it was Rue's redemption arc, and I even made a video about this. That I really felt that Ali was like a rock to her, and then what they did in the season finale, like, no, it just wasn't right. They didn't need to do that to her. They didn't need to do that to her character. I was rooting for her redemption arc. Now, obviously, if people know or don't know, that she had, she had issues with drugs and everything, and um, she was going through it, but then she got sober at one point, and that was the part I covered where she was getting sober. Now, fine, you can show her relapsing, okay? But then to do what they did with her, like killing her off, and I just knew it was coming. As soon as I saw her wake up, I knew she was dead. I just knew it before they even did that whole sequence. I knew she was dead. I just knew it. And I was disappointed immediately that they were doing that, because she had the chance to be redeemed. Now, what they should have done is the two timelines that they showed her kind of, meeting people and everything that she didn't get to do in real life because she dies. But what they could have done is shown the two timelines, the consequence of her relapsing and the consequence of her staying sober. And they could have shown those two timelines. And that could have been an interesting, compelling sequence. They didn't have to kill her off. I don't care what anybody says. They didn't have to do that to Rue's character. And I felt like you just sucked the hope and the life out of everything, whether it's Dune, Euphoria, Blade Runner, whatever it is. Like, all of these things, they suck the hope out of everything. Someone says Euphoria, one word, disappointing. Yeah, I was disappointed, really disappointed with it. Now, don't get me wrong. There were certain things about the season three that I enjoyed. Like, I actually found it fascinating to see their lives after high school, after, whatever it is that these guys do. I don't know the school system really in the US, but like after graduation or whatever, like it was so interesting to see their lives and how chaotic they were and how strange it was. But again, like they went so far into certain directions that it kind of was off-putting. Um, so yeah, I just feel like they didn't need to do that to her. They didn't need to. They could have given her her redemption arc. You know, she deserved that as a character, and not just her, but everybody who's suffering or going through addiction. They could have given her the chance to redeem herself in the series and have a happy ending. I actually felt that Euphoria needed the happy ending. Of course, the whole series suffered from the lack of Labyrinth doing the score for the soundtrack, but actually Hans Zimmer stepped in. But his score reminded me more of Philip Glass than Hans Zimmer. I don't know if everybody is familiar with Philip Glass's work, but Hans Zimmer, his score sound reminded me of like something that Philip Glass would compose for something like Pawakatsi or Koyaanisqatsi or Narkoikatsi, if anyone has seen those amazing films which deal with like life and the internet and stuff like that. They're not films per se with characters, but they're visual films that explore people and humanity and things like that. And it sounded like a score from those films, like a documentary almost. So it didn't sound like Hans Zimmer at all. It sounded like Philip Glass to me. But anyway, the score suffered from not having Labyrinth be a part of it, and there was this whole kind of, I don't know, controversy where he left and stuff like that. But yeah, exactly. Like they take the color out of everything. They suck the life out, the joy and the hope and the potential of youth. Like youth need, like young people need, like a redemption story. They need to be feel like there is hope in the world, and this is like one of those TV shows that mostly like the youth kind of, it deals with youth really, and they really, you know, had the opportunity to give Rue her redemption arc, and they just completely threw that out the window. Why didn't they, you know, they could have given, uh as I say, they could have either dealt with the consequences of like losing your life due to addiction or relapsing. They could have given that to somebody who Rue cared about. Do you know, like even Hunter Schiffer's character, they could have made her die from an overdose. I mean, that would have been a shock to Rue, and then like a huge wake up call. Like she would lose something that meant a lot to her. But instead, they kill off the main character, and yeah, I just felt like she deserved her a better. She deserved better, and so did the youth who would watch this TV show. They deserved hope, and they didn't get hope. What they got was misery, and it's sad. It really is. So I was very disappointed with that. And then you got Ali's whole sequence where he kind of renounces everything he believed and renounces his faith, and I just didn't think that was in character. Um, it felt weak. It weakened his character, even though he has the guns in the end, and okay, he fights for Rue, and that was cool because of his love for Rue. I understand that, and but why did he have to renounce his faith as a result? You know, it's weird. It's weird. I just didn't agree with most of the way it was written, basically. So yeah, it's sad, and I wish everybody who is perhaps dealing with any kind of uh addiction, that there is hope. Don't take what this series told you, which is that you know, there isn't hope and uh anything like that. You know, there are ways which you can stay sober. You know, don't give in to all of these temptations and the way that these films and TV shows portray it to be. Because if you believe that this was reality, then there's no hope, there's no color, there's no everything in anything. There's no future for humanity if you continue to constantly make things bleak. Where's the positive sci-fi? Look what they did with The Matrix, the fourth movie. The Matrix, I don't even know what it's called anymore. I tried to block it out my memory. Um, where like everyone failed and it was all, the machines, it's all back to square one and humanity failed. And even in this Blade Runner TV show, humanity's been wiped out and now it's the replicants. If they don't have anything interesting and hopeful to say about humanity, then I don't want to hear it. I'm just tired of horrible, bleak TV shows and series, you know? Someone says the Katsu trilogy was amazing. I'm sorry, it's not coming up for some reason. Here we are. Katsu trilogy is amazing. My first avant-garde films. Yeah, I mean, I first discovered Baraka, or Baraka, if you want to pronounce it properly, and that opened up a whole world to me of like this kind of style. And then I saw Koyaanisqatsi again. It was it's kind of like mind blowing, and it opens your mind, and it's beautiful. They're amazing films. Narcoikatsi was the most digital and cool, like visually cool of them all. The others were shot beautifully on film as well. And yeah, just brilliant. A set of brilliant films to expand your mind. Yeah, I kept thinking it was called Resurrection, but I was hesitating to say Resurrection for some reason. The Matrix Resurrections, right? Yeah, just such a disappointing return to the franchise. And I hear that they want to return back to them to make more Matrix movies. I just hope that they have something again more interesting and intelligent to say. My whole idea for the Matrix Resurrections was that Neo has to save himself in the Matrix. Like a part of him is trapped, so Neo has to go in to where it all began, where you see the first Matrix being like it's basically playing out again exactly as it was in the first Matrix movie, and he has to try and save himself from other people trying to destroy the original one. So him like going back and trying to save himself in all of those scenes, I thought could have been a really interesting premise. Instead, I don't know, we got that, oh no, Neo really wasn't the one, it was Trinity who is the one or something. And I'm like, what? I kind of, again, I tried to kind of block it out of my mind. I don't even know what it was trying to say anymore. I may watch it once again and then just never watch it again. But yeah, watch Masters of the Universe, the perfect antidote to all the bleakness. You know what? I love the original Masters of the Universe movie with Gwildor and all of that. And I love the original Skeletor in that movie. Of course, I'm aware of the TV show as well and the cartoons and stuff. But yeah, I hear that the movie isn't as bad as people may have originally made it out to be. So yeah, I do need to watch something a little more lighthearted, and I think I might have to watch that movie. It wasn't on my to watch list, I can't lie, but if you guys are recommending it, I think I will, because we need some more fun, just bring back some joy, bring back some hope in these things that we create. Okay, we understand that, the world is already bleak enough. We don't need to also show bleak art all the time and everything be bleak and everything look bleak and everything be turned into a bleak scenario, you know? Skeletor in Master of the Universe, is he good? I mean, people were worried about that. The movie is vastly underrated. Oh, okay. It's so much fun with the innuendo inside jokes. It really captured the silliness of the cartoon. I actually wanted the guy playing um, He-Man to be that guy who was originally supposed uh, to be in it, and he was instead in some a Marvel movie as another kind of as the guy who can expand and grow bigger and smaller and stuff. I don't remember his name. If you remember his name, chat, let me know. But he was supposed to originally play him, so I was like, oh, I was sad when he wasn't because I think he's kind of cool. But no, the new guy looks fun, and I probably will check it out. Yeah, you're right. I probably should. Okay, so guys, uh I think that's it because there aren't any more chats, and I've been actually this is probably one of my longest streams. So I'm kind of shocked that I've streamed. This is probably the longest stream I've ever done. 2 hours and 23 minutes, I think it's going so far. So, um, yeah, I think I'm going to end it here. Thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It's been very interesting covering both Dune and Blade Runner today with you, and we've come up, we've kind of reached some interesting conclusions. Um, I'll still kind of cover both Blade Runner and Dune, and I'll see what kind of comes as a result. Hopefully, this series is good. I will check out some of your guys' recommendations, uh, and I thank you all for joining in, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks, and have a good night.